Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I have a video here to talk about the newest Netflix comedy. I think that came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's called Old Dads. It's the directorial debut of Mr. Bill Burr, the very famous stand-up comedian, one of my favorite, probably modern-day comedians. The man's my damn spirit animal, for God's sake. He's one of those people like Tom Segura from 6 years ago, where I just really enjoy the guy. I think he's absolutely hilarious. And I was curious to see what he would do, because he not only directed this film for the first time ever, he also co-wrote it. So I was curious what was going to happen with that. And I didn't really get what I expected to get. It's a very mixed bag, a very mixed movie, a very mixed message film that's kind of just up in the air. It feels like when you have somebody like Bill Burr self-reflecting in their 50s or whatever. That's what this movie hits me as. Kind of like when you see somebody like George Lucas, who was so angry in his 20s and his 30s, and then he eventually softened up the older he got. And that kind of seems to have happened to Bill Burr in a lot of ways, but I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that as kind of just an observation, I would say. I expected this movie to be very bitter because Bill Burr, a lot of the time in his stand-up comedy, he smiles more now than ever, but he used to be super angry all the time, and it's really fun to watch, really fun to listen to if you watch his podcast or whatever. Anyway, Bill Burr is hilarious. I think he's a genius in comedy. This movie was advertised as a movie about 3 dads in modern day 2023 observing the shit around them, how people try to correct you for your parenting or whatever you're doing in your front yard or on your own property, whether it be on the internet, in person, whatever. Everybody wants to tell you how smart they are, how stupid you are, and how much you should change for the better according to them. It's hilarious, and I was expecting a movie that really had Bill Burr just telling people to shut the fuck up constantly, and it wasn't really like that. Sometimes it was. It started out in that place, and by the end of it, it's almost like Bill Burr, being the co-writer of this movie, or just anybody involved in it, were almost ashamed that they felt that people should just shut the fuck up and stop telling everybody how to feel and think all the time. Very interesting change from what I expected this to be from Bill Burr himself. But anyway, like I said, it's about these 3 guys who are older dads. One of them just found out his girlfriend's pregnant, and he's one of the 2 other friends with Bill Burr. Bill Burr's the main character here, obviously. And Bill Burr has immediately a situation with a teacher at this, it's like a private school, but not really. It's like his kid's too young to go to a private school per se, but this gets you into the best private schools if you go to this small academy for children. His son is going there while his wife is pregnant with her second kid, and he messes things up bad when he gets into an argument with the principal there from the get-go, and she's just a condescending bitch all the time, every time she's on screen. This actress was great. That character is awful. You can't stand her. And the fact that the movie kind of feels like it's a shame to Bill Burr, or Bill Burr's ashamed of himself for acting this way a lot of the time, is very, very strange, because people come to see Bill Burr act the way Bill Burr is. Very anti-PC, very direct, very angry, like I said back in the day. Not so much now, but back in the day, yes. That's what people came to this movie to watch it for. And I feel like you really don't get that most of the time. I feel like it's about 50-50, you know? And that's kind of a shame, because there's a lot of things in here that could have been way better, way more enhanced, despite the outcome that everybody knows that if you acted this way nowadays in 2023, you lose everything, because you'd get canceled on the internet, in real life, in your neighborhood, especially in a suburban neighborhood. You know, it's kind of not the message this movie needed, in my personal opinion. As a Bill Burr project, it should have not had the weird mixed messaging it has by the end of the movie. I just don't like that. I just think it doesn't really fit. The character writing isn't really that strong either. You really have just the one guy who's about to become a dad, very old. He's having kind of a midlife crisis. You have another guy who's an older dad that's Bill Burr's other friend. These 3 also happen to own a kind of sports memorabilia company, and they happen to sell it out recently, which is really where the movie's plot kind of starts at, aside from this Bill Burr principal feud thing going on. These guys sold their company they've had for like 20 or 25 years, and they have to work for an umbrella company now, who is led by the guy who played the Dylan Sprouse lookalike from the Quarry video game, if you played that. And I could have sworn it was Dylan Sprouse. It's not. His name is Miles Robbins. He's really good. He's good here, too. But he's a good actor. I like him a lot. He was also in Halloween 2018, by the way. The one who used to set firecrackers inside of jack-o'-lanterns. Really funny guy. Really enjoyed him. Not the best in here, but he's perfect for the kind of role he's playing. And this umbrella company is very, what can I say, politically correct, SJW, woke, whatever the word is you want to call it. They're very much like that, and they're trying to basically strangle these guys and tell them they can't talk. And tragedy strikes all 3 of them at the exact same time, and they struggle quite a bit. But the movie at that point, when the tragedy I don't want to name happens to them doing kind of their own thing inside of this umbrella company, it becomes kind of a bummer because the rest of the movie really doesn't get back on track. It really doesn't know where it wants to go, what it wants to do, and it really doesn't solve a lot of things that I think should have been solved by the end of the film. The script feels very mixed, and I don't know if that's a Bill Burr thing or a Netflix thing. I'm not really sure what the issue is here, but it's not really what I would expect out of Bill Burr. It's kind of surprising. It's kind of lame, if I'm being honest with you. It's just kind of lame, period. I wanted more. I didn't expect like an amazingly directed movie. It is his first project, and it is a lower budget comedy. It's not a superhero movie. It's nothing like that. So I was expecting something modest, but something decent as an indie comedy. And it's fine for that. It did make me laugh. To be honest with you, I also watched No Hard Feelings right before this movie experience, and the one with Jennifer Lawrence, and No Hard Feelings did not hit me anywhere as hard or make me laugh anywhere as hard as this did a lot of the time. There's a scene in here about Bill Burr in his car screaming at one of these morons on these stupid electric scooters they always ride in the road and never on the sidewalk. In my reality, in your reality, anywhere you go, these fucking scooters are everywhere and I hate them. There's a scene of Bill Burr screaming at this guy, and it made me laugh so hard. It made my wife laugh. She was in the other room hanging up pictures in our new house, and she was laughing about it because it sounded so much like me when I'm driving and I see these asshats in the middle of the road. It was funny. It made me laugh a lot. There's a lot of good moments like that. But again, it's like the first half of the film is really dedicated to that. The other half feels like it's ashamed of that. It feels like such a completely messy situation, like somebody else had to come in and change the ending or something. I don't like that about it. And nothing is really resolved by the end. I mean, you can argue that it is, but it's not a satisfying resolution if you really want to get down to it. The music is okay in the film. The cinematography looks very cheap comedy. You know, it looks like that kind of thing. Any kind of lower budget comedy you expect to see nowadays, something like No Hard Feelings, for example, I just mentioned. It looks like that. It's just a very plastic looking movie, you know what I mean? And it isn't beautiful, if you know what I mean. But the performances were solid from pretty much everybody. I like the two friends that are Bill Burr's buddies, and I like Bill Burr, but it's not a great written film when it comes to character stuff, plot, anything like that. It's really lacking in plot, as a matter of fact. This is not that good of a movie, but it's not a bad movie. I want to make that very clear. It's just not what you would expect from Bill Burr, of all people. And I don't like the direction it goes by the end, as I've said 100 times so far. If I had to rate Old Dads on a 5-star basis, at the end of the day, I'm disappointed with the film. I think it's very lackluster, and again, very mixed in every angle it possibly could be. To me, it feels embarrassed of itself. To me, it feels like Bill Burr, being the co-writer of the film, I have to blame him for this. It feels like a man who's softened up over the years, who's looking back at his life, and he's kind of bummed out that he always was like that. Which is a shame, because it was funny. It's what made his career being that way, being so bitter, angry, loud about it, aggressive even about it. I think that's hilarious. But seeing the scenes in here of him addressing stupid-ass buzzwords and shit from Twitterverse people, in reality, it's hilarious. I love it. You can't pass it up, even if the film's not that good. Those moments are really good and fun to watch. Anyway, if I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, I think I'd give it like a 3 out of 5 stars. It's a very mixed movie, but it's not bad. I want to make that very clear. Not a bad film, fairly enjoyable to watch for the most part. I don't think I'd ever sit through it again. Definitely wouldn't buy a copy of it, but oh well. I'm kind of choked up today. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, have you seen it? What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments about this Bill Burr film down in the comment section down below. Did you love Old Dads? Did you hate it? I'd love to hear everything you have to say. Anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all, and goodbye.